Let's put that on.
Good evening and welcome to the Invictus Racing League F1 League. It's Monday night, it's 8 p.m. It means it's Gareth and Sab in the commentary box. How are you doing, Sab?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. We're back. It's the USA Grand Prix tonight. It should be a good race around here. We've got some championship contenders potentially trying to get their eye in on John Polainen after last week. John Polainen struggled quite a bit, didn't he, in the Russian Grand Prix, and that allowed Sam to pick up his first victory of the season and just knock a chink out of the armour of John Polainen, so to speak, and maybe there might be a chance now for some of the guys to be able to catch up to that. And if they can, we are surely in for a great race tonight because that will widen the championship fight up as well. So tonight should be a great race just before our Christmas break.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you say, it is John Polainen that leads the standings at the moment on 46 points after 4 races, 2 wins and a third place. And then equally, not a great result last week in Russia, only picking up 5 points, but it keeps him 11 points ahead of FPL Charlie, last season's no assist champion, 1 point ahead of Foxy Red behind him. So the second and third, pretty evenly matched, but then behind that, there's plenty more drivers that have got their eye in on a late championship run. And as you can see, we've got plenty of drivers in the lobby tonight ready to go and hoping to make it that fairy tale of New York. And as what you had slightly further southwest of New York, all the way down to Texas, and of course to the Circuit of the Americas. And it's held since 2012. One of the latest circuits, of course, to have held a Formula One Grand Prix in Formula One after several other iterations, the likes of Indianapolis, Phoenix, Watkins Glen, Riverside, and Sebring, amongst many others. It's a 5.5 kilometre circuit, 3.4 mile long, ninth longest on the F1 calendar, with 20 turns. Distance turn one, relatively short 280 metres drag up that hill to that very sharp left-hander. Longest straight, of course, that back straight, just over 1,000 metres, 0.6 of a mile on the approach to turn 12, where the cars will be hitting a top speed of around 320 kilometres. That's just a smidge under 200 miles an hour. Full throttle over the race lap distance is 63%, and gear changes over the lap is around 54, which makes just over 1,500 over a 50% race distance. And of course, COTA is one of those Hermann Tilke tracks, so it's very much come from a carbon copy from several others, and it was built with the eye and mind of the likes of Silverstone and Istanbul, which you can see, of course, that famous Istanbul turn 8 is very much emulated in turn 16, 17, and 18 here at COTA. And Sab, it's a track that you've said in the past you're a bit of a fan of.
I am a bit of a fan of. I think there's definitely a lot of opportunities for overtakes around here. We've in the real F1 as well. I think we've had some decent races since it's been on the calendar in 2012, and I think tonight especially we should see some good racing. You point out some of the other tracks it's kind of copied off, and it's particularly the S section at the first sector of this track definitely is Maggots and Beckett's, isn't it? And if you don't get that right, especially in qualifying, you can easily find yourself cutting the corner ever so slightly and invalidating, which can really hamper that quali lap what you're aiming to get. So there's so many key areas of this track where you've got to get it nailed bang on, because if you don't, you can find yourself 2, 3, 4 places down the grid, and it could really hurt you come race time. And equally as well into the race, as we could find ourselves picking up silly little warnings as well from the race stewards, which you definitely don't want. So it's one of those challenging tracks, especially racing on here. It's one of those challenging tracks where I feel like if you can really nail it, it feels really good. But if you're struggling for tyre temperatures, or you've got any front wing damage or anything like that, it really does hurt you a lot around here. So it should be a cracking evening tonight.
Yeah, absolutely, and it is like you say. It's one of those tracks that you need to be smooth with, especially in the first sector through the likes of turn 3 all the way through to turn 10. It just brushes off speed, corner after corner. You take the first, of course, turn 3 and turn 4, a relatively fast pace, but by the end at turn 9, it's a much slower pace, and it's all about keeping that steering smooth, keeping the front end pointing in the right direction. But it is a track around here that does promote overtaking. We've seen on the game and off the game that you can overtake at several different corners, whether it be the likes of turn 12, turn 1, of course, you can get that DRS run up the hill, but then equally into the likes of turn 15, of course, in the F1 season, we saw Lando Norris send it up the inside of Seb Vettel on the first lap, and will we see anyone go for that sort of move this evening? It is a very wide circuit we have here. It's a maximum of 52 feet of the track surface. As you can see, we're in qualifying. It's an overcast day down here in Texas, which is something you don't often see too much, actually. But it's 11 left-handers, 9 right-handers. So it's a circuit that's going to test out these drivers going from side to side in either direction. And Sab, looking at Formula Race Rumours, as we've just had our weather report in, it's all dry for both sessions. So drivers will be delighted with that. You can see 18 of them in the lobby tonight. But looking at the grid that we've got this evening, who have you got your eye on for a possible challenge for the race win?
Well, I was going to say my eye on for qualifying, but for race win, I couldn't possibly look away from John Polainen again. Yes, he struggled last time. He still scored points, but he struggled last time. But you've got to look to the likes of John Polainen, Sam, who was superb last week, and Boy Better Know is back this week. So there's many names there. But in qualifying, I'd have to say you've got to keep an eye on and TNF Owen. He's come into this league and suddenly just blitzed the one-lap pace, hasn't he? He's been right up there nearly every time he's been racing around here, so he's definitely one to keep an eye on qualifying. And if he can just quite nail it in the race trim as well, he could find himself looking at potential race wins. As we see, I'm just riding on board at the moment with FPL Challenge. I'd have to say, he'll hate me for saying this, but FPL Challenge probably been one of the most consistent drivers so far this season. He's been on the podium 3 times already, just out of reach from that elusive race win which he's been so desperate for on a Monday night. But he's also one to keep an eye on in tonight's race.
Yeah, absolutely. As we see, we're on board here of the Williams almost giving themselves a little mini race down the back straight, and we saw last week in Russia that those two weren't really willing to give each other any quarter when it came to track space. You can see they're almost banging wheels on this outlap, almost fighting for position to be the first one out there. Of course, these guys, they've gone out on that red striped soft compound tyre, so it's going to be the prime tyre for these the two Williams, and then behind them is one of the other Mercedes. I believe that's Boy Ben OSB, who's managed to rejoin us this week. And but we are just sticking with Harry for the time being. We'll stick with him through this first lap. It looks like his teammate may have stretched his legs and got a little bit of a gap, and he'll be the first two, but it will be the Williams that cross the line. And we were talking to Owen in the week about how he was feeling, of course, coming into the season, and it's his first time here at Invictus, and he's done very well in qualifying, and he was saying that he's disappointed that he's not been able to maybe get towards the front end of when it comes to the podium in the race, but he's been pretty consistent in qualifying, getting himself off into the front row of the grid the last 2 races. But it's definitely just that final step that he's looking at getting over the hill of, as he just has, as Harry there, just has to get past one of the Alfa Romeos. A pretty tricky sector there at the exit of turn 9, I believe it was. But yeah, it is Owen. He's put himself on the front row last 2 races, but he has been falling back in the race, hasn't he? So that's something he's really got to work on.
He has, and I think when he gets into the rhythm of this league and starts to find his feet a bit more, I'm sure we will eventually see him getting on the top step. He's certainly proved that he can race in this league, and he certainly can prove that he can get pole position. So within time, I think you would definitely expect to see Owen right up there claiming race victories. I'm riding on board, like I said earlier, with Charlie. He's sporting a very festive helmet tonight. He's got his Christmas reindeers on the side of his helmet there. He's in the middle sector now. He's got a couple of cars ahead of him. Hopefully they keep out of his way. One of them's Fox Red. Charlie gets all out of shape now. He's going around now in the final sector. It'd be very interesting to see what he can do. He's on the soft tyres, which we've just seen Owen and now Harry set the fastest lap on those soft tyres. So everybody at the moment fancying those soft tyres as Hercules as well goes into P3. He's back this week, and Charlie comes across the line into P4. So not the best of times there for Charlie. He's a bit down on Harry, so work to be done for him. But yeah, it looks like to me everybody is favouring that softer rubber tonight, not maybe trying to stretch their legs out early on in the race. They want to go maximum attack early on in this race.
No, and one person that definitely wasn't favouring it was Scott Boyben OSB, who was actually pointing in the wrong direction on the exit of turn 19. Must have gone wide onto the runoff area and was letting the rest of the cars around. So he was out there on the hard compounder tyre, I believe it was. So yeah, that's going to be a lap scrubbed off as we see one of the Red Bulls going wide and allowing Foxy Red, who's on the hard tyre. And we know Foxy likes to do that strategy of going out, having a little bit of a sighter, just seeing what the track conditions are like, and maybe boxing at the end of the lap. So we'll see if he does go to completion with this one. Foxy Red of 2000, of course, going quite nicely in the championship, sitting in third position on 34 points, 12 points off the leader Jumper Line, and he picked up a second place finish in the first race of the season in Hungary. Hasn't been back to the podium since the last few races, been finishing just off of it in fourth and fifth positions, but he'll be looking at getting a decent result this evening. What can he do in the Alfa Romeo coming up to the third sector now on those hard tyres? So it's not going to compete against these guys out there in the 32s and Harry, the first of the drivers to go into the 31s with that first flying lap. But we'll see if Foxy does stick with it and just see if he can put a relatively competitive lap in on these hard tyres. It is going to go to the end of the lap, so that DRS flap opens for that final burst. It's into ninth position, so 36.8, so that's a whole 5 seconds slower than Harry.
Wow. Whether he made a mistake or he's just getting a sight lap, we know Foxy likes to get out there, doesn't he, early on and just get a feel for the track to see how he's doing. But not many people at the minute favouring that medium tyre. Adrian Lockdock and Speedqueen are the only people at the moment out on an outlet out there. I'm currently riding on board with Infinity, and he's bailed on his first run. So Infinity in the Renault has bailed on his first run there, so he must have invalidated at some point. I've just moved further down to Rasty. He's going to come in, and nope, he's backing out, so maybe he's on the hard tyre at the moment, so maybe trying to get a few laps, just get a feel for the track, similar to what Fox is doing, because he's just set a 1:52, and I'm definitely sure that's not the quickest he can do.
No, not unless he's sitting in an F3 car. So he's back down in 10th position at the moment, but Rasty will be going much faster later in the session. I can assure you of that. But one person that will be looking at going quickly this session is White Fountain in the Haas, and he's currently got the hard tyres strapped on at the moment. So it's going to be a slower first flying lap for the Belgian, but we know he almost drifts around turn 12 there, but the famous yellow, red and black helmet of White Fountain in that cockpit, but he can always pull out a lightning lap in qualifying, so watch out for him later in this session. He's just going out for what looks to be a sighter lap, as we saw Foxy Red do earlier in the session, and equally Jumper Line and doing a 34.3. So those guys just out there just seeing what these hard tyres can do, just sizing them up for later in the race. Will Fountain stick with it? It looks like he's going to, so we'll see where he can put himself. Will it contend with the likes of Jumper Line on a 34.3? It's a 34.7, so 4/10 off the Finn in 8th position. Good lap there from White Fountain.
Yeah, not too bad. And I'd say, even though Jumper Lining has kind of dominated this league so far, it just shows you, doesn't it, how competitive this league has got. Even with Jumper Lining, the likes of Foxy Red, Hercules coming in there, because we're getting such a mixed variety now. We last season in No Assist, you could probably guess 3 or 4 people who would probably be right at the very front fighting for podiums, race wins and even pole positions. But now, you just don't really know who's going to get it. That's, I think, been the most exciting and most fun part of this league so far, despite one person winning 3 races. It's just the fact that it is so competitive, not just at the top, but all the way down the grid. The likes of White Fountain, who, like you say, can always pull a lap out of the bag at the moment, sitting in P9 on the hard tyres. So Yeah, it's interesting to see his boy better know now. He's starting to come across the line. He's going to be setting his first flying lap. He jumps up to P5 ahead of his teammate with a 1:32.4 there. So not a bad first lap there for Scott after missing last week's race.
And here comes Speed Queen, number 58 in the Toro Rosso, across the line on those medium tyres, up into 8th position. Good lap there from Speed Queen, beating the likes of Burmeister, who's gone onto the soft tyres. And you can see Jump Island's now out on a set of softs. Speed Queen getting out of the way of the faster cars behind. And we'll just check in with some of those other guys that are out on track, such as LER Luke, who's back after missing last week. We'll see what Luke can do in the Ferrari. And he's out on the soft tyre. So with 8 minutes, just over 8 minutes, and 30 seconds left to go in this session. Looks like everyone's favouring that tyre compound. Samuel Pepito currently in second position at the moment. Warris Lander we missed going up into fourth, and Warris been pretty tasty in qualifying so far this season. So the young Dutchman's definitely going to be looking at competing further up. Where can Luke get himself? It's up into 7th position, so 32.606 for him.
Warris Lander as well, if you guys haven't seen it, he's done a hot lap for us this week on our social media pages. Definitely recommend watching that to just see how he goes around this circuit. He's definitely a great inspiration to watch, because I struggle around here. I'm riding on board at the moment with Hercules. He's got a bit of traffic at the moment. I don't know if he's going to be backing out of that or if it's on an outlap. Foxy Red ahead of him on those hard tyres, but at the moment just one person, that's Speed Queen, as you pointed out, on those medium tyres. So like I say earlier, nobody's really wanting to alternate the strategies too much, are they, at the moment? The hard tyres, especially White Fountain, as Foxy Red and Hercules both come in. I'd be amazed if the likes of White Fountain, Foxy Red and Rasty end up staying on those hard tyres, because they don't really want to be qualifying that far down the grid, because it just gives them too much work to do, doesn't it?
Yeah, big time. And it's a track that, although there's plenty of overtaking options, you don't really want to be at the back of the pack heading up that hill, because your braking points will be completely blocked by a number of cars ahead of you. Just on board of Harry here, who's coming to the end of the lap. He was going faster at the end of the second sector. Can he improve on that pole lap? It is. It's a 31.8, so he takes a tenth of a second off of his best time so far. Puts himself just over a tenth ahead of last week's race winner, Sam Pepito, and Sam said it was a great confidence booster for him after 2 long seasons here in IRL F1, and it really helped him, and he hadn't been back on the podium for a while. So Sam delighted to be back up there, and he really thought that he needed to have a decent race, and it was a really well fought one. And although Warris Lander crossed the line last week in the lead, dropped back on penalties, Sam really deserved that win last week, didn't he?
Yeah, he got the pole position as well, and he just didn't look like he was going to beat the... Yes, like you say, Warris Lander did get there, but unfortunately, due to penalties, it did give Sam the race victory. But yeah, Sam, he definitely deserved it last week. He drove superbly, and at the moment, he's looking like he's carrying that form into tonight as John Polainen. There you go, our current championship leader is now pole position with a 1:31.5 there. He's really set a benchmark there. Harry, who just set the fastest lap, has now got even more work to do with about 3/10. But just talking to Harry as well, I think that's probably been the one weak point for Harry this season, is his qualifying. He's struggled a lot this season. Last week he was at the back. This week he's up in second place at the moment, so it's much better for his point of view where he is right now and where he believes he should be as well, because last season in no assists he was a force to be reckoned with, and so far it's just not quite worked for him, has it?
No, not quite, but like you said, there's plenty more racing to be done, and of course this is our final race before the Christmas break, so these guys will have a chance to go back and just recharge over that break and come back and get ready for a second half of the season that's going to be as explosive of what we've seen so far, with what has been so far 4 absolutely thrilling races here in the IRL F1 League. TNF Owen back out on track in the first sector at the moment, working his way through those sweeping bends all the way from turn 3 to turn 10, just approaching turn 10 now. Of course, hopefully his suspension won't fail like we saw from Sebastian Vettel, and Yeah, now down to a heavy braking zone down at turn 11. Very easy to lock up the front brakes here as it's slightly off camber, but now it's that long stretch, over 1,000 metres on the approach to turn 12. DRS assisted all the way down, getting up to just around 200 miles an hour. And Owen, can he keep it from locking up into the braking zone? Nicely done. They're very tidy indeed from the Williams driver. And of course, guys, this is not just the only racing we've got here in Victor's Racing League. Over this week, tomorrow night is the Realistic Performance League. They'll be back here on track in Kota, and of course on Wednesday night you've got IRL, F2 and F3 equal performance leagues, of course, on Wednesday nights, and you can catch that of course here on YouTube by clicking that subscribe button. If you're not subscribed already, make sure you are, to get all of the content ready for the second half of the season after Christmas. Where can Owen go? He moves himself into third position just behind his teammates, so those two pretty much neck and neck with each other, Harry and Owen, but no one yet able to get to that 31.5 we've seen with Jumpalainen.
No, John Polane's really set a benchmark, hasn't he, there? I've just been riding on board with Burmeister. He was having a decent lap, and then it just started to come away from him eventually towards the end of the lap, and it only eventually promoted him up to P11 at the head of Speed Queen, so work to be done there. There you go, Hercules, one of the new guys, he's come in and decided, I'm going to beat it, and wow, that's 3,000ths of a second he's beat John Polanen by, as he's now retired from the session. So has he an accident somewhere? I don't know, but Hercules has retired from the session with 2.5 minutes still left on the clock. So the marker has been set for John Polanen. Can he beat that by 3,000ths of a second? What a lap that was.
Sam Pepito bails out that one in 5th position, but yeah, absolutely banging lap from Hercules. He probably just put his hands up at the end and went, well, I'm not going any faster than that. That was all I've got, so we'll see what everyone else can do. We've got 2 minutes and 25 seconds left in the session to go, so there's time for one more run for everyone. You can see the guys making their way out on track for their out laps. The only one not out on track currently, Foxy Red and Speed Queen Charlie is about to make his way out on track as well. But yeah, just checking in with Burmeister. Is he improving? Looks like he's not going any quicker at the moment, so he'll be winding up for another lap, I would imagine. But yeah, great lap from Hercules, 3,000ths of a second, like you say. Fantastically close, and that's really what we like to see as well. These guys really battling up the top, and but Hercules and Jumpalainen 0.3 of a second ahead of the likes of Harry seem to be in a little bit of a class of their own at the moment.
They do, yes, and just want to say, pointing out, White Fountain has locked himself in for a medium run here. He's on his final run now, and he's on the medium tyre, and so is Rasty. Rasty out there is on the medium tyre. They are the only two people at the moment who are fancying those medium tyres. So if White Fountain, he's in 13th place at the moment, Ken White, he's just gone wide there. That might have invalidated his lap, I don't know, but can White Fountain get himself within that top 10 on the medium tyre? Because if he can, he's going to be sitting in a good place come the race on that alternate strategy going longer. But I'm not sure whether this lap will count or not. I'll have to sit and watch him for the remainder of the lap. But at the moment, White Fountain is trying something a bit different compared to everybody else.
He is indeed, and it's something we've seen from him in the past. We know that he does occasionally pull out these reverse strategies just to see if he can get himself in the mix later in the race. So watch for White Fountain to, if this lap is going to be valid, that he might be able to get himself inside the top 10 and on those medium tyres. There's just over 30 seconds left in the session. We've currently got Hercules leading from Jumpalainen, and Harry is in third position, and then himself and Owen have been split by Boy Benano, who's managed to get himself up onto the second row of the grid. What can Fountain do on the medium tyres? He goes up from 13th into 11th, so it's not enough to get into the top 10, so he's going to have free tyre choice. But Warris Lander,
wow,
what a lap!
Wow.
We thought that Hercules and Jumpalainen were out to reach. 0.3 faster he's gone.
Wow. Wow, what else can you say apart from wow? I wish I was watching that lap. I did not see that whatsoever. I was trying to keep on board with other people, and Warris Lander has just knocked it out of the park and said, beat that, and I would be amazed if anybody beats that. But if anybody can, you would imagine John Palanian can. But at the moment, I'm just right on board with him, and he's less than a tenth up on his previous times. At the moment, he will go ahead of Hercules, but it doesn't look like anybody at the minute is going to beat that lap time. Wow, that is fantastic.
Yeah, that is quite a lap from the McLaren driver, and we'll see if anyone can beat that. If anyone's it's gonna be Jumpalainen, who's coming up to the final two corners now. He's got around the first one. Can he get to the final corner without locking up? He's going to have to launch it out the final corner. It doesn't look like it's going to challenge, does it? It's only second position. He does go above for Hercules, but Jumpalainen only up into second. Who else is on track? I believe Charlie is out there as well. Where is Charlie on track? He's coming up to the long right-hander at turn 16 now. Can Charlie get himself up from ninth position? He's right in the middle of the pack at the moment, not really where you want to be. Can he get himself up into the hot end of the grid come the race? Charlie coming to the final corner now, hits that apex, puts the throttle down, comes across the line, and the Mercedes driver not improving. And the final one out on track, which we'll try and catch before they cross the line, will be Foxy Red. Will Foxy stick with it? He will. He comes up to the final corner, slightly off the apex, which is going to give him a slower exit. And he comes across the line. It's only 13th position for Foxy Red 2000. So the two drivers in second and third in the championship, only 9th and 13th, with the current leader second. But it's Warris Lander, a 31-2. What a lap from him.
Unbelievable that. He's certainly set the mark for tonight, and can he get that race victory? And based on that form, I wouldn't be surprised. He just needs to, like last week, just make sure he doesn't pick up any time penalties, and it will be his. But he'll be having Jumpalainen breathing down his neck going up to turn one, up that hill. So I don't envy him whatsoever. But that was a superb lap. Harry, it was good to see as well. Harry up there in P4 as well, after struggling quite a bit this year, so far this season in qualifying. And boy, better know he knows how to get a lap together, even when he's not been racing all season, doesn't he? There in fifth place.
Yeah, and but I mean, what a qualifying session that is, because you can see just the gaps between some of those guys is absolutely nothing. Warris Lander, however, though, takes it by over 0.2 of a second. A 31-2 puts the Dutchman on top in qualifying, ahead of Jumpalainen. Hercules is in third position with Harry in fourth, Scott in fifth, Owen back in sixth, Sam back in seventh, with Luke in 8th, Charlie in 9th, with Infinity rounding out the top 10. Alex is in 11th position with Speed Queen in 12th, Foxy Red 2000 in 13th, with Adria Lockdock and White Fountain starting way down the order. Burmeister's in 16th, Rasty is in 17th, and Simon, without a time, will be starting from the back of the grid in 18th position. And that's a lot of drivers heading up that hill, that 130 feet incline towards turn one. And yeah, Sab, coming out of that, did we really think that Warris Lander was going to be the one on pole position?
Well, I didn't mention him, but after, like I said, after watching his hot lap he did for us, I should have really called it, shouldn't I? He really shown us how it was done in that hot lap, and then he goes and does it for real tonight. He thoroughly deserved that pole position. That was unbelievable. I honestly didn't expect him to get that. I'll be honest. I was looking at the likes of Hercules, Jumpalainen, maybe a Harry or even Foxy Red, who's been all right, and Owen recently. But Foxy struggled quite a bit in that qualifying session, didn't he? So there's a lot of work for him to be doing tonight. But I'm going to be absolutely fascinated to see what's going to happen going up into that turn one, because you can get a little toe, and sometimes you can just sneak one down the inside into that corner, or even maybe around the outside if you're feeling brave as well. So we could see a lot of position changes going up into that turn one at the very beginning of this race. Yeah,
it's going to be a fascinating start to this one. The championship protagonists are all over the grid, so we're going to have a really mixed up first lap with plenty of squabbles going on. Can they keep it pointing in a straight line? Will everyone maintain that front wing carbon fibre? Don't want to be losing any end plates early in the race, because you will be boxing early and costing yourself a whole heap of time, but it's going to be, like I said, it's going to be a dramatic and well, pretty exciting way to send us out for Christmas as we get to our Christmas break after this one. As I said, guys, if you are loving the race so far, make sure you press that subscribe button on YouTube. We would love to hit a goal of 250 by the end of the season. So it would be your support is so greatly appreciated. We thank you for everything and all your help over the season so far. It's been a real dream bringing you this race and then equally seeing how much you have enjoyed it. So as we see Wallace Lander taking the field away for the formation lap. And equally, guys, make sure you check out us on all the socials, Invictus RL on Twitter and Instagram, Invictus Racing League on Facebook, where, of course, you can catch interviews with the drivers. You can find photo albums from all the races and equally hot laps and driver tips from some of our pros here in the league, like you say, Sav, from the likes of Wallace Lander, who you can see on the Twitter, pinned up on the Twitter site. You can find his lap here, and we can see exactly why he's managed to get himself up onto the pole position, and that's by hitting every single apex pinpoint perfect. But it's going to be a brilliant way to end the 5th round, and it's going to be a pretty daunting one for Wallace Lander. We know that he's done well, and equally he's had some good races so far this season, but he knows with the likes of Jump Line and Hercules that he's going to have to be pretty nimble off the line, isn't he?
Oh yes, definitely. And if you remember back in Hungary, Wallace Lander and Jump Line had a real good battle, didn't they? Until Wallace Lander eventually just lost the car and damaged his front wing. He kept with Jump Line for most of that race, and even taken him a few times. So he knows all about Jump Line and how racy he is. So it is a lot of pressure, especially with like that Hercules, who's new into this league, and he's proven straight away what sort of racer he can be. So. Yeah, I don't envy Wallace Lander whatsoever with the likes of Jump Line and the Hercules right behind him, because that is some pressure to be able to try and keep those guys behind and then try and pull a gap out to break that DRS zone when he gets the opportunity to. But here they come round the last few corners now. Oh, here we go. I was just wanting to point out quickly before we start off, there's only one person outside the top 10 who's starting on the soft tyre. That is Foxy Red. Everybody else is favouring the medium tyre, so should be some long stints there for those guys.
Yep, Foxy Red will be looking at making up some positions on the first lap, but the cars are getting to their grid slots and forming up ready for this 5th round of the IRL F1 League. And of course you can find this every Monday night from the new year, and we'll be bringing you the next 7 after this one. But it is 1 light, 2 light, 3, 4, 5. Let's drive home for Christmas, guys. And we're off and underway here at the IRL F1 League round 5 in the USA. It's a pause, and we're finally off. Well, it was a long pause indeed, but it's a good start. It's a good start for Jump Line up the inside. But equally, Hercules is going to try and send it between the two of them, and he's gone through from 3rd position into the lead of the race, and he's going to have the inside line. Wallace Lander trying to stick with it, but he's going to have to lose positions here because he's going to drop down to 3rd place. Jump Line and gets ahead of him. Wallace Lander up down to 3rd position. Jump Line up into 2nd. But Hercules, great launch off the line for him.
Wow, I did not expect him to send it up the middle and to not pick up any damage either. Those guys squeezing him out. That was fantastic. Poor start for Harry as well. He's dropped 2 places down from 4th, and Boy Better Know, he's usually lightning fast, isn't he, at the start? He's up to 4th place, but we've got a real battle at the minute behind Boy Better Know. Sam is up 2 places as well in the Haas. He's getting chased down by TNF Owen and Harry. It's all go at the moment, and luckily we've had no incidences.
No, but it's Wallace Lander that does get back ahead of Jumper Line, and so it's a good move there from Wallace Lander into turn 12, and he manages to get back into 2nd position. But it's Hercules that's starting to already stretch his legs, so There we go. We've got the UI back up there. We fell off the screen for a second, but Warrislander back up into second position. Behind, it's a good start for Sam, up 2 positions. Foxy Red on those soft compound tyres up into 9th place. But White Fountain, he's equally had a poor start, down into the final place on the grid in 18th. But Hercules crosses the line to start, tries to break the toe already by sweeping to the left-hand side of the track. Jump a line and still trying to stick with these guys ahead. But Warrislander, luckily for him, managed to just get that move down the back straight into turn 12 and get back up into second. But he's already 1.6 seconds behind the German.
Yeah, that's what I was going to point out. Warrislander, yeah, he is quite a way down already, and when that DRS zone is activated, jump a line and he'll be licking his lips, so to speak, because Warrislander is not going to have any real defence against the DRS, is he? And at the moment, Hercules is just absolutely flying, isn't he? 10th after 10th after 10th at the moment. It's now nearly 1.8 seconds. It's just dropped down to 1.6, but it was nearly 1.8 seconds there. So Hercules is absolutely flying at the moment in that Red Bull, and he's doing exactly what you need to do early on. He's trying to break that DRS train. As we've got a yellow flag as Adri Lockdock has retired from the session, the first retiree of the session. Not sure what happened to him there, but that does promote White Fountain off the bottom into 17th.
Sam gets past Scott there into turn 12. Without DRS so far, locks up that front left, which has meant Scott is going to have to brake a little bit earlier than planned, but he is trying to stick with the Spaniard. Last week's race winner, Scott, of course, back for the first time in a couple of weeks. And he's equally got the 2 Williams cars swarming around his gearbox in the moment. Oh, he's just about held on to that one there. All out of shape as Hercules does another flying lap there. 1:36.5 is the first real competitive fastest lap. DRS is now enabled. And we can see can Scott hold on to this position. The Williams is going to send up the inside. Is there contact? There's not. That would look very close between himself and Owen, but just about after losing the position to Sam 1 lap previous. Scott now under threat from both Williams cars.
Just slightly behind. Foxy Red has made a good start. He's gone up 4 places on those brand new soft tyres. He's currently hounding Charlie. Charlie just cutting the corner there. Charlie trying to keep on to the back of Harry, as we've got another yellow flag there. I didn't see what that was for, but there's a bit of a train at the moment behind TNF Owen in 6th place. Owen is fallen away slightly from Boy Better Know, but he's dragging along with him Harry, Charlie, and Foxy Red, and Infinity, and LER Luke. So we have a bit of a change, 6th down to 11th at the moment. So loads of positions are up for the take there as TNF Owen and Boy Better Know try and swap positions there.
I had Owen trying to go around the outside, and Scott's not going to be having any of that whatsoever, but he does manage to get past at the next corner. So Owen up into 5th position. Harry trying to follow him around. He's going to have to go the long way around. Scott really struggling in these early stages, and he's going to find himself getting passed by Harry, a place that you don't often see people get past, and that's turn 16 there. But Scott now falling down the order, down to 7th position. He's now going to have his teammate all over the back of him. So will team orders come into play here? Because, of course, Scott not starting the season well with consecutive point scores, whereas Charlie's sitting in second now. So do the two think about a swap early on? If we've got the 2 Williams being shadowed by the 2 Mercedes, and then equally behind Foxy Red on those fresh tyres, as Rasty's the first one to pick up 3 seconds this evening. But we've got Foxy Red on those fresh tyres sitting 0.3 of a second behind Charlie, so looking pretty tasty tonight.
He is, and that's what I was just about to allude to. If they are going to swap those Mercedes, they've got to do it in such a way that it doesn't allow the door to be open for Foxy Red to try and sneak one down the inside. And with Foxy Red being so close to Charlie, I can't see how Mercedes could possibly get the move done unless Charlie does it for himself, because Foxy Red is really pushing that Mercedes along now, as Boy Better Know ahead of Charlie there. It was all out of shape out of that corner, and surely Charlie's going to have a real good opportunity on Scott, but Scott has got DRS as well himself, so this not really helping Charlie. Foxy Red is trying one round the outside of Charlie, but Charlie is having none of that, and once again Foxy Red is just making Charlie aware that he's there, and if any mistakes are made, he's going to capitalise on us. We have another yellow flag in Sector 2, and it's Burmeister. Burmeister, after the DRS zone there, he must have had a mistake. He was running slowly, but he's back up and running again. He's dropped down to 16th place.
Yeah, both the Ferraris having scruffy laps there because Eliar Luke went wide on the exit of turn 10 onto the gravel, and that cost him position to Infinity, so that he's now dropped out of the points. And at the end of that straight, Harry and Owen swap positions, so Harry getting back up into 5th position, managed to get past Owen, and here comes Charlie down the inside of Scott. Will he get the move done into turn 1? He does. The number 2 driver gets past. I said the number 2 driver, number 2 car. Of course, he'd hate me saying the number 2 driver. But here he comes, and he's passed Scott up into 7th position. And Scott now, as I said, falling down the order, so not enjoying these tyres whatsoever. Will he make an early stop and box for a new set of tyres and possibly get an undercut on everyone, change up that strategy? And behind, we've still got, well, minute gaps between the likes of Scott and Foxy Red. Scott now under threat from the Alfa Romeo behind. Foxy's going to have to go to the outside line. They're side by side into turn 11 here. Foxy, both of them spinning up the rear wheels on the exit and trying to put the power down as early as possible, and this has helped out Infinity massively. Infinity getting a double toe off the 2, might even be able to challenge 3 wide down into turn 12, but Foxy's going to be the one that goes around the outside line. There's going to be contact between the 2. It's all reasonably friendly so far, but Foxy Red sends out the inside line, locks the front right, which means that Scott's able to come back and hold on to the position. Foxy cuts back at the last minute. What a move from the Alfa Romeo. Scott still not giving up on the position, but finally Foxy up into 8th position.
They've not given up yet. Scott has not given up yet at all, and Foxy Red is still having to find himself defending for all his might here. As he gets Scott gives him a little love tap down. This battle has made Foxy Red 1.7 seconds down now, so this is going to give Scott a huge opportunity to try and get back at him with DRS. As he's got Infinity then also trying something as they touch. Oh my god! And Infinity now, wow! Infinity says thank you very much, I will have a go, and Infinity gets the move on Scott, and Scott must be absolutely furious at that because he thought he had the opportunity to get Foxy Red back, and Infinity comes back, but Scott is just not giving up whatsoever. He just seems to be going backwards, but he's not giving it up as he's now got Eliar Luke behind him. Scott falling down the order into 10th place, and it looks like to me those soft tyres are just going away from him now as he's just struggling to keep people behind him.
He is, and that was a little bit of a pit pocket there from Infinity. Just saw the inside. Oh, there's a little bit of tap there between Luke and Scott, which just puts the Mercedes off of the throttle for a second, which means that he's going to lose ground and give Luke the opportunity, as we've seen a move between the Warrislanders drop down to 3rd position between himself and Jumperline. Jumperline must have got the move up using DRS just a moment ago, but we'll check in with that battle very, very shortly. But Luke does get past this Mercedes that's starting to struggle, but we will go up and have a look at what's going on between Jumperline and the Warrislander in 2nd position. As I cut off from there, I do apologise, because Luke and Scott were side by side going into turn 15, but it looks as though Scott's managed to get the move back on the Ferrari. Warrislander, though, drops back into 3rd position, so he was being chased by Jumperlinen, and Jumperlinen finally gets back past Warrislander. Warrislander will be frustrated after starting on the pole with a scintillating lap in qualifying. Maz dropped back to 3rd position, and Hercules, however, 3.2 seconds, now 3.3 up the road from Jumperlinen.
Just point out as well, TNF Owen has picked up 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. He has also been passed by Charlie. Charlie's up in 6th place, but I wanted to also point out that Harry is now right on the gearbox of Sam in 4th place. He's been pulling the gap down and down and down, and now he has got he will have DRS very shortly. Sam, who's 2.5 seconds behind the Warrislanders, so big opportunity here for Harry if he can get it right out of that corner. Now heading down that long straight with DRS, you would imagine this should be a comfortable overtake for Harry. Harry now lining him up, he dives it down the inside, and yes, as you can see there in the Williams, easily takes Sam, and now Harry is up into P4.
As Alex picks up 3 seconds there. We've had several drivers pick up penalties in the last few laps, as you say, so we'll quickly we'll try and remember which ones that was. I believe, yeah, Sam was one of those, and Sam in 5th position, so losing that position. It's such a strong DRS zone here with that long stretch down towards turn 12, but Harry up into 4th position. We've got a yellow in sector 2 at the moment. It's just been cleared, maybe for a slow driver.
CPI Alex.
It's Alex down in 17th position. Not a great evening for him. We'll find out if there's anything else going on around the track. We can see Speed Queen now around the back of Scott, so Scott really falling back at the start of this race. He's got Speed Queen company. In fact, I say for company, she's just said see you later as she sends it up the inside into turn 1, and in fact she's on those medium tyres, so she's going to have that grip balance a little bit better, but Scott's going to try and fight her. These two, we know in the past, have had some absolutely ridiculously good battles between themselves, but this time it is Speed Queen that's got the upper hand on her Mercedes rival, and Scott now back down into 12th position. He's lost 7 positions since the start.
You'd imagine, based on that with Speed Queen on those medium tyres, as Scott gets all out of shape there. Wow, he did well to hold on to that. And that's going to allow now Simon to get past him here before the DRS zone. And Simon does get ahead now, and Scott has now dropped down to 13th place with White Fountain being able to see him now. And I'd imagine Simon is just about keeping ahead of Scott. Scott not giving it up as you would expect, as Speed Queen and LER Luke now swap places. Speed Queen out to 10th place. I was about to say, do you think now these medium tyres are starting to be the better tyre, because these soft running guys are starting to struggle a bit out there? Sam, for example, he's dropped out of DRS zone of Harry as well, so the moment these soft tyres, they're just about hanging on, but if you take too much out of them, as you can see, you're going to lose quite a few places.
Yeah, absolutely, and it looks like Scott has taken a lot of life out of these tyres, so he may be one of those drivers thinking about boxing sooner rather than later. And as I say that, into the pit lane comes several drivers. Jumperliner, Warrislander, Harry, who else? Sam, Charlie and Scott. So we've got both Mercedes in the pit lane. This is going to have to be a really, he's going to have to pause. There's going to have to wait for a second, but that means that it's going to cost Scott even more time. But staying out, Hercules is happy on those tyres. Owen happy. Foxy Red, of course, started on fresh soft tyres, so he's going to have a lap or 2 extra life in those tyres. And then behind, we've got this crazy battle going on now with Speed Queen heading up a field of 4 more cars, and behind it was Jumperliner that's managed to get out just ahead of Warrislander, who's just under 0.2 of a second behind him.
It's going to be fascinating now, isn't it, what these guys can do on these brand new medium tyres, as Jumperliner just cruises past Burmeister there. Burmeister just didn't even look like defending there, and that allowed Warrislander to decide, I'm coming down the inside, and he's overtaken Jumperliner. That was a very audacious move there from Warrislander. He's seen Burmeister kind of put off Jumperliner by the looks of it, and it just opened the door for Warrislander, and he said thank you very much, and now he's ahead, so he's in a net P2 at the minute for Warrislander. So that was very, very clever move there from Warrislander to see the opportunity and not hesitate on it.
No, absolutely, and also he managed to get DRS out of it as well, so it was a little bit of a double gut punch there for Jumperliner, and after losing the position, he also then didn't have any DRS to re-attack Warrislander down the back straight. So nice bit of tactical driving from Warrislander. They're going wide on the exit though, turn 19, sorry, but he's back ahead of Jumperliner, so these two swap position once again. Hercules is in the pit lane, he's on the way out now. How much further up the road is he? He's maintained the lead, he's just gone round turn 1 now, but he's got a bundle of cars ahead of him now. So what, 5 cars he's got that he's going to be coming up to very, very shortly, so this is going to really compress the top 3 once again as soon as he gets up to them.
It is, and really, it's a good job that he didn't stay out any longer on those soft tyres, because it just shows you that Warrisland and John Polina have got it down to 1.8 seconds. It was over 3 seconds, wasn't it? So if he'd have stayed out any longer, he'd have found himself struggling to keep hold of his race lead. So that it was a good time for the Red Bull mechanics to bring him in. But like you say, now he's got a headache now, because these guys ahead of him, they don't have to let him go. They know there's not going to be any blue flags. These are racing for positions. The first guy up for Hercules is Rasty, and he's cruising past that Alfa Romeo here. He should get the move done. Rasty's not really wanted to allow it to allow the Red Bull to get past, and Rasty doesn't allow the Red Bull to get past. And like I say even, these guys are fighting for positions. Like further ahead with Simon and White Fountain, they have no obligations to allow Hercules to cruise past. So at the moment, this is just holding him up. And look at Warrislander now; he's less than a second behind that Red Bull.
Absolutely, and Warrislander just cruising up to the back of Hercules once again, as Hercules picks up 3 seconds in time penalty. So that could come back to bite him and haunt him later in this race. Warrislander doing the fastest lap of the race, 1:35.327, as he starts to catch up to Hercules, who's going to send it down the inside. Warrislander's going to try and follow him through, and Warrislander really trying to get those opportune overtakes, and Rasty not willing to give up. Warris is going to try and use the superior tyre grip to send it down the inside, and he gets it done. The Dutchman not waiting for any opportunities that he needs to, or any that's going to take any longer, as Rasty picks up 3 seconds, Warris really channeling the sort of inner Max Verstappen here, not willing to give up any time to get past anyone.
I've just noticed something, a glaring thing we've not pointed out. Warrislander is on a set of soft tyres. Now, didn't he start on a set of soft tyres? And if that is the case, he's going to have to pit again. He's on a 2-stop strategy here. I don't know if there was a mix-up in strategy between Mercedes guys, but that could explain why Warrislander is so fast at the moment on fresh, soft tyres as he's trying one up the inside of Simon there. But yeah, I'm looking at the information on the screen, and everybody now on medium tyres except Warrislander, who's on a set of softs.
Yeah, it's you're absolutely right. There's contact between Hercules and he's just thought about it. It was one too many. It was a deep lunge from the McLaren, and he's lost himself his front right end plate. And if he didn't need to, well, he was already going to need a second stop. And we'll see, does he come in straight away? He does. So he's going to come into the box, and in fact, he picks up 3 seconds of time penalties to counter that as well. So that's really played into the hands of Hercules. But we'll see on board with Hercules now. Has he got any front wing damage from that contact? Warrislander, he just thought about sending him down the inside of both the Red Bulls, and just 2 into 1 does not go. Simon, in fact, retiring from the race. We also lost Alex a few laps ago as well, but Hercules is now 1.1 seconds ahead of Jumpalainen, so it's now these two in the effective lead of the race.
That's so disappointing, isn't it, for Warrislander? Another race where he looked on for a potential race victory, and it's just got out of his hands as Boy Verno, he picks for 3 second time. But Boy Verno, by the way, I did say everybody's on mediums. He's actually on the hard tyre. So it'd be interesting to see if these medium tyres last till the end of the race, and if they don't, he's going to be on those hard tyres, and he might be able to make some place up later on. But yeah, going back to Warrislander, I noticed the soft tyre when I was riding on board with him, and I thought it was a mistake at first. And we soon seen that he was on the fast tyre, and unfortunately that dive was one too many, like you say, and just cost him his front wing, and cost him probably a podium place now, and he'll be very lucky to get into the points now, even running down in 15th place. So that's desperately unlucky. But this now allows John Polainen, who's less than a second behind Hercules, to have a go at that Red Bull. Remember, Hercules does have a 3 second time penalty at the minute, so John Polainen, if he keeps it clean, he still has an opportunity to win this race.
He does indeed. Hercules now lining up Speed Queen behind. Speed Queen, however, does have DRS. She's going to defend. We know that she doesn't like anyone past Hercules, sending it down as hot as you like, down into turn 1. Gets up into second position. He puts himself in front of the Toro Rosso, so he puts a car between himself and Jumpalainen. He's going to hope that Speed Queen will hold up Jumpalainen for the next few corners at least, until we get to the DRS zone. Behind Warrislander is now moved up to 14th, because Scott into the pit lane once again. He's come in for, he was on the hard tyres, and in fact he's retiring from the session. It's not a happy return, but the jumper liner now to the inside of Speed Queen down at turn 11. And he gets past. She doesn't have anything left on those tyres to fight him back, but the Finn now back up into third place on track, second position in the net lead, because the race lead is now swapping, as here comes Hercules down the inside of White Fountain. Fountain, of course, started on those medium tyres, the same as Speed Queen, but he's had to give up the effective lead of the race because it is Hercules that's retaken it, so he's put himself a whole pit stop ahead of White Fountain now. And Jumperlinen equally 0.8 of a second behind the Belgian. We've still got Harry back in third position on track, really, and then behind him Sam and Charlie split by around about 2 seconds each. So it's going to start in a few laps or so, just filtering out as we see these medium runners will start boxing in the next few laps to come onto the soft tyres, I'd imagine, and it would put Hercules, Jumperlinen and Harry as your top three.
Yeah, that mistake and that issue with Warrislander has gifted Harry a potential third place here at the moment. He's having a good race so far. I've been following him on board for a few laps. He's looking clean through the corners at the moment. He's got a good gap to Sam behind him, 2.2 seconds. So at the moment, it's going good for Harry right now out there. He will have a net third place once Speed Queen and White Fountain do pit, but it'd be very interesting to see what those long-running medium tyre drivers do when they come in for those presumed soft tyres when they eventually do come in, and how quick they could potentially be towards the end there. As now John Polainen he should be making easy work of White Fountain, and yes he does. White Fountain couldn't really defend there, could he, with no DRS and well-worn medium tyres, and John Polainen now back up into P2, but he has lost a bit of time to Hercules. It was about 0.8. It's dropped down to 1.7 seconds.
Yeah, so he is up into second position on track. White Fountain, of course, with Speed Queen as Warrislanders lining up Rasty down the back straight now as he's trying to make that charge back towards the points. He's back into 13th position. He's got a whole heap of work to do, though, if he wants to make up some at least a decent points haul, getting up maybe into 6th or 7th position. He's got a lot of work to do from a long way back, so it's frustration for the McLaren driver who did so well. Like you said, had gone for a different strategy. We'll see if that was planned or not after the race, but he's down in 13th position. Harry now catching up to the back of White Fountain and of Speed Queen. He's going to, of course, on those newer tyres compared to the other guys, will have that grip advantage and will probably look at clearing them as soon as possible. Harry doing nice and consistent so far. He's not quite challenging where we thought he might be towards the front end of the grid, but he'll be happy with another podium.
Oh, most definitely. He's probably seen the front three guys driving away at the earlier, thinking 4th or 5th might be the best I could do tonight. But now with Warrislander having the issue, it's gifted him an opportunity to claim a third place, which I think he'd be delighted about. I just wanted a quick mention further down. TNF Owen is starting to slightly reel in Charlie. He's drifting around a second just outside the DRS zone of Charlie at the moment. Charlie struggling a little bit at the moment. He's in 7th place, as you see Harry does take Speed Queen, and Charlie is about 2.3 seconds behind Sam. So at the moment, Charlie is just starting to fall back into the grips of Owen, and Owen could have a potential opportunity here to take 7th place from Charlie.
He can indeed, and I was just thinking as well, back to the penalties that we've seen flash up, is it's a 2.4 lead for Hercules, but he is sitting on that 3-second penalty. So at the moment, Jumperliner would be making it a 3rd win of the season if the race was to finish after 16 laps. Of course it's not going to. We've got plenty more racing left to go this evening, and it is currently a battle between Hercules and Jumperliner for the race lead. We've got Owen chasing after Charlie in 7th and 8th position. Harry now just over a second behind White Fountain. He'll look at closing that down over this first sector so that he can possibly get into DRS heading down the back straight and give himself just a small chance of catching up to these guys in the lead battle. But Yeah, of course, guys. As I said before, it's not the only race of the week. We've got the Realistic Performance League tomorrow night, Tuesday, with Malk and Tim in the commentary box. And, of course, on Wednesday night, we've got two leagues, IRL F2 and F3, with Warrislander, of course, down in 13th position now. He is joined by Dan in the commentary box, and Tim and Malk once again covering F3. So make sure you subscribe to the channel if you'd like to catch all of the content this week. And of course, if you're enjoying the races tonight, you're enjoying the league, and equally you're enjoying the commentary that Sab and I bring to you every Monday evening, make sure you press that like button. Helps us out massively with the YouTube algorithm, and equally with getting it recommended into more and more of your YouTube sidebars. So it helps us out hugely. So if you are watching it and you're enjoying it, make sure you press that like button, give us a thumbs up for the race this evening. But Harry now well within a shot of White Fountain as we get towards the final two corners of the lap. Fountain, of course, on older tyres, so he's going to have much slower and worse launch out of every single corner, which means like corner by corner Harry's going to reel him in. DRS assisted. Can he get past up into turn one? He's probably going to want to clear him as soon as possible. He sends up the inside. Fountain's not going to fight it. He knows that he's not got the opportunity on these tyres, as Luke picks up 3 seconds. Now I say he doesn't want to fight it. He is going to fight it. In fact, he sticks it around the outside and maintains third position. So there was me thinking that White Fountain's going to try and not hold up Harry any longer, but in fact he's thinking, well, there is an opportunity that I'll be coming in and be much faster later in the race. I don't want you to get past just yet, so Harry's going to have to do it all over again in a few corners time.
I pointed out a few laps ago that Charlie was falling into Owen's grips, and Owen did eventually, last lap, get the move done, DRS assisted. Now, Charlie has not fallen away, though, and Owen now it'll be like roles reversed here, but Owen got a good getaway there. It's down the DRS straight there, and Charlie with DRS just can't get close enough, unfortunately for him, and right now Charlie ring down in P7. It doesn't look at the moment like he's going to be challenging anywhere near a podium for him tonight, but Owen now will be trying to, hopefully for his sake, try and catch up with the likes of Sam now, 2.8 seconds behind the Haas driver. Charlie doing his best to try and keep hold of Owen and just stay within that DRS zone, but at the moment Foxy Red is now also trying to work his way back to the Mercedes driver, so Charlie could find himself having some more issues as the race goes further into the end of the race. So yeah, some troubles there. Sorry, go on.
No, sorry, just saying the Speed Queen comes into the box in the last lap, so she's dropped down to 12th position. It'll be interesting to see what her progress is as Warriors picks up another 3 seconds there. I believe that makes 6 for the McLaren driver. But Speed Queen, we'll have to look at what her progress is, because that will really depend on what White Fountain does, because of course he's in 4th position on track at the moment. He's still yet to pit, so he'll be looking at coming onto the soft tyres. So we'll just keep tabs on what Speed Queen's doing, what her times are, and if she sets a fast lap, because we know that she was up towards the front end of the field, as well as Luke, unfortunately, retiring from the race this evening. He was down in 14th position, not having the best of evenings in the Ferrari. But yeah, it's going to be, we'll see. She's come in, with 11 laps left to go in the race. She came in for those tyres. So White Fountain's sticking it out for a little bit longer.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it, whether White Fountain just doesn't think he can get the grip off those soft tyres for 11 laps. You'd imagine he'd be coming any time now with 10 laps left on the.
I say he'll most likely be coming in, because we've got a safety car.
Oh yes, we have.
We have indeed. I was wondering why San Pito suddenly bailed out of an overtake on White Fountain, and there we go. It's a safety car brought out by Luke.
This could play into White Fountain's hands massively here. If he pits now, goes onto those soft tyres, suddenly, as Hercules does, now Hercules, the race leader, is going into pits, and so is John Polainen in the second place. So they are all thinking, and Harry, wow, this is going to be a train of cars going into the pit lane.
I think we're about to see a very, very busy pit lane here, as everyone will be coming in. If you're the first driver of your team out on track, get into the box, put a set of soft tyres on, give yourself a good option towards the end of the race. Sam, he was just about to get the overtake on his teammate, but because of the safety car coming out, it's meant that White Fountain had the option of coming in first, and Fountain is going to get back on track after being a pit stop down in 5th position. So although, of course, everyone else on track, the 3 guys ahead of him, Harry, Jumperliner and Hercules, will equally be on soft tyres, that's moved up Fountain a heap of positions compared to where he would have been if he come in under green lights. Everyone coming in apart from Sam, so that's
Wow.
going to really cost the Spaniards. Even though some of these drivers would have pitted and double stacked, we saw both the Williams having to double stack, Owen losing a couple of positions because of that, and equally the Alfa Romeos having to double stack. That's going to really shake up the final 10 laps of this race.
Would you have double stacked if you were Sam, or would you have stayed out like he has? Because now, surely, if he's going to come into the pits, he's going to find himself well down the order. So, what would you have done in his situation?
I think he's got to come in now. He's got to come in now and just put himself at the back of the field. I think we can say that the safety car is probably going to do at least one more lap. It will do 3 laps, which it's a big call for him here. He's gonna really have to hope that it's extended for one more lap, because even if he does pit now and go onto those soft tyres, it's going to be a hard task to catch up to the pack by the end of the lap. But yeah, it's on being on those tyres compared to every other driver on track, apart from Scott, who of course is already retired from the session. Does he come in? No, he feigns it and he stays out. So he's going to be the only one on track on those medium tyres that have already done 10 laps. So, I mean, I certainly don't want to demean Sam's ability, but he could find himself out of the points quite easily with the advantage with tyres these guys behind him have got.
Oh, most definitely. I feel for Sam, I really do. It would be like blood in a shark-filled tank right now. You've got a load of fresh, soft rubber behind him, and Sam on those 11-lap-old medium tyres. I genuinely would not want to be Sam right now, because when this safety car does eventually come in, yeah, we're not going to get DRS straight away, but you'd imagine that just the grip alone would get these cars past Sam comfortably, especially down that long straight at the back of the track. So, yeah, that safety car just did not work out for him at all. If he'd have got the move done on his teammate, then it would have been a completely different story for him, and it would have been White Fountain who would have probably suffered. So, yeah, that's just really unfortunate. The only thing I could suggest Sam could possibly do is to just try and hang on and see what he can get at the end. I don't know if he's got any penalties or not, but maybe he can just make some positions up based on penalties. I don't know, but we've got 8 laps. I don't know whether the safety car will be coming in yet or not, but I assume it'll be coming in this end of this lap. There's nothing on track, is there, as far as I can see, what's keeping the safety car out. But yeah, this is spiced things up, hasn't it? We haven't had a safety car yet this season, and this race was starting to, no, I won't say peter out, but it was starting to phase out a little bit. And yes, there we are, safety car in this lap. So Sam is about to lead these guys round with brand new set of soft tyres, and he could find himself losing first place, already going up into turn 1.
Yeah, he's going to have to choose when to bolt here, and he's going to have to let the safety car disappear up the road a little bit. And the lights on the safety car have gone out, but Sam now still maybe going a little bit faster than what I'd be thinking of. I'd be trying to slow these guys down right as much as possible and try and take a little bit of temperature out of those tyres, because he's not going to want anyone behind him getting any a better launch. And we'll see, when does he go? He's slowed right down at the last moment there. That almost caught out Hercules behind. But here he goes. Sam is going to send it around the final corner and start the second half of this, this what is going to be a intriguing end. Hercules has gone with him, but he can't quite catch him just yet. Harry right on the gearbox of Jumperliner in 3rd position at the moment, and behind Warrislander jumps up past Burmeister back up into the points. This has worked out for Warrislander as well. He got back in. I said earlier that he probably would have wanted a safety car, as Foxy picks up 3 seconds there early in this second green light phase. But Sam holding on to position for the moment, but Hercules is sitting right on him. And as you say, it's not going to be pretty, I would imagine, for Samuel Pepito. You can see all those cars behind him just ready to gobble up the Haas that's on those much older tyres, and Sam snaking side to side, trying to break the toe of the Red Bull behind. Can Hercules get past sooner than, as the first green light? He's going to go to the outside. There's contact between the two. Sam runs him out wide. He's not going to give him that position, and Hercules still trying to stick with it and sends it up the inside, up into first position. Jumper line, and equally he's going to try and sit behind Sam. Is he going to lunge to the inside? He's not. So there's still Sam trying to hold on to position here. Is he trying to hold on to help White Fountain keep up with these guys?
That's a good theory, that. But John Polainen, I don't know if he picked up any wing damage, but he ran into the back of Sam there, and that's brought Harry right on the gearbox of that Racing Point. And Sam here is just barely hanging on with his fingertips here, trying to keep John Polainen behind him. But this just shows you, doesn't it, the superior grip of those soft tyres. And this, I'd like to point out as well, this has also not helped Hercules out, has it? Because he's got that 3-second time penalty. I don't believe John Polainen's got anything. So if John Polainen can get the move done on Sam as soon as possible, he's still an opportunity here to take the race win. And with Harry as well, also hounding John Polainen behind him, John Polainen's going to have to get this move done on this lap, because Harry is looking very racy right now.
Yeah, this is working in Hercules' favour at the moment, with Sam holding the pack up. He's allowed himself to a 2-second gap. So here comes Jumper Linen, and he's going to be well within reach of Sam. Sam once again weaving side to side, trying to break that toe, and it's going to be an absolute mega toe for the likes of the guys. You can see they're already too wide, and we've got Warrislander, Charlie, Foxy and Owen all fighting over the position. Here comes Owen and here comes Foxy and Warrislander, both sending up the insides of their dueling partners, as Charlie picks up 3 seconds there. But Jump Linen still unable to get past the Haas. Still, as there's contact between the two, Sam's been spun around, and Jumper Linen loses the front wing of the Racing Point, and that's put Harry up into second position. That is huge in the championship at this early stage. He's lost the entire left-hand side, and Warrislander has dropped back from the field as well, as Jumper Linen then picks up 3 seconds of time penalties. This has been a crazy end to this 23rd lap.
I thought something might happen between Sam and him. He got close a few times on the previous lap, and I think I don't want to say it was bad racing or anything, but it just seemed desperate, didn't it? I know, I understand that he needs to try and keep on the back of Hercules, but it just all seemed a bit desperate from John Polainen, and unfortunately that's just cost him massively now. And with that damaged front wing, he's struggling like crazy going through that S section now, and he's going to have Charlie onto the back of him ever so quickly. So John Polainen could suddenly find himself out of the points here, as Harry picks up a 3-second time penalty, which is really unfortunate for him. But what this has helped then is what you pointed out earlier. White Fountain is now ahead of Sam, so White Fountain is now up into the podium places on those brand new soft tyres, and he is chasing down Harry for P2. So what a second half of the race this has been for White Fountain. Now White Fountain tries to go around the outside, he leaves it late. Can he get the move done? Harry runs in wide, but White Fountain now will have inside, and White Fountain now just about, Harry's keeping hold of it somehow, but White Fountain just about gets it done. And now White Fountain, who didn't look anywhere, did he, at first, is now finding himself in second place.
Harry, we've got this battle between Harry and White Fountain. Samuel Pepito and Foxy Red swapping positions. Jumper Linen is equally falling back, with Charlie and Owen getting past him. And Charlie and Foxy Red really find their position. Look at this battle we've got between Owen, Charlie and Foxy. There's a front wing clip there. I believe that was for the possibly of the Williams, has lost his front left end plate going into the final corner, so that's going to cost Owen some downforce, and it's all getting a little bit testy. Yeah, you can see missing that front left end plate on the Williams car, so Owen is going to struggle, especially in this first sector. And it's Christmas has come early for us with this final as this final part of the race with this safety car. It's really kept the things going, as Infinity does the fastest lap of the race, 2:47. He's down in 13th position, a bit of clear track because the rest of them are all battled as Charlie picks up another penalty. I believe that might even be 9 seconds for him, which is massive. And it's just not going well for a number of drivers picking up several penalties this evening. White Fountain up into 2nd position. He's 3.6 seconds behind Hercules. Hercules, of course, with that 3-second penalty himself. So White Fountain only 0.6 of a second off such an unlikely victory.
White Fountain always finds himself in these races, doesn't he? I remember Brazil last year when it went a bit crazy. White Fountain, he knows how to take advantage of situations like this, and an unlikely podium, you'd have to say, and he's now finding himself trying to push for the race win. It's been an absolutely fascinating race for White Fountain, and a fascinating race in general. I just don't know where to look right now.
No, it's overtakes going on all over the track. Burmeister and Rasty just swapping positions for 9th and 10th positions. Speed Queen catching up to those guys as well. So there is going to be a battle all over the track. You can see every position from 3rd all the way down to 11th, all in one picture there, with Sanford Pitto still holding on to 4th position. So Sam doing a marvellous job at the moment on those much older medium tyres. He's holding up these guys and just scrubbing off the life of everyone around him. So he's really doing a nice job to hold position in fourth place.
He is, yes. Oh no, White Fountain has lost it. White Fountain has lost it, and he's ran into the wall, and that's allowed Harry to come by. Oh my God. Just where Sebastian Vettel's suspension broke, he come out of the corner, and the car went from underneath him, went straight into the wall, and that has dearly cost White Fountain. He's going to have to pit. There's pretty much none of his left side, his front wing there, and this is going to allow Sam to come back. Sam, who's still up there in P4 on those old medium tyres. Foxroyd's still not been able to get past him, but that's desperately unlucky for White Fountain. The car just didn't handle for him, and unfortunately he will have to, I don't know if he does come in or not, but the state of that front wing, there is nothing left of that front left side of it. So fortunately for White Fountain, if he can hang on for 3 laps, that would be mega, but I think he'd have to probably come in.
Jumper Linen is one of those guys hanging out there on a very broken front wing. You can see there that end plate on the left hand side completely missing from the racing point. He's in 8th position, but it's under threat from Burmeister. He's sticking with Charlie and Owen, but he's not quite able to catch. As you can see, Sam still holding off the Alfa Romeo. In fact, the Alfa Romeo looking to the inside, not close enough to get it into turn 1. Jumper Linen here, and once again getting close to Charlie, and Charlie's going to be thinking, you've got a broken wing, and he's still staying with me. What have I got to do to stay ahead of him? As Infinity picks up 3 seconds, and then Fountain picks up another 3 seconds. So it's going from bad to worse for Fountain, who, of course, after contact with the wall on the last lap, is now dropped back behind his teammate. In fact, there's contact between Foxy Red and White Fountain, and now Foxy Red is missing that front wing. So it's all going off in this late stages. It looked as if White Fountain just couldn't get it slowed down. We can see the Speed Queen going to the inside of Burmeister. Does she get the move done? Not quite. But yeah, now Foxy Red and White Fountain battling over position. Fountain to the weaving across the track, trying to break that toe. And it's going to be Foxy Red now without front wing. He's going to send it to the inside. Oh, that was a late move there from White Fountain. Very, very naughty. And that's cost them both dearly. And that was so silly between the two of them. And there's still contact between the two, and we can see here it's always going to cause a huge bottleneck of cars. There's now contact between Jumper Linen and White Fountain. Fountain well down the field, frustration boiling over for a number of drivers there.
I have to say, White Fountain, in my opinion, should have come into the pits when he got that broken front wing, and he just driven back onto, at the end there, driven back onto the track where there was just no room for him. He had to give the position up, and with that damaged front wing, it was always going to end in contact, and unfortunately, it's cost a lot of places there. So That's poor, I think, from White Fountain, and I think what he should have done is come in before and not get himself in that, because he was always going to be struggling with the handling of that car, and unfortunately that's just ended a bit nastily there. But I just wanted to point out briefly, if Harry hadn't have picked up that 3-second time penalty, Hercules has 6 seconds of time penalties, not 3. If Harry hadn't picked up that 3-second time penalty, Hercules would still be trying to hang on, as Harry does now fall more than 6 seconds behind. But yeah, Hercules does have 2 lots of time penalties there, but Harry now looking likely to have a second place. But I am more amazed at the fact that all this carnage has happened and Sam is still sitting there on 18-lap-old medium tyres in 3rd place.
He is a little Spanish Iron Man, isn't he? He just taking all of the hits. Everything didn't go his way when it came to the safety car coming out, and he had to stay at that on old tyres, and he stayed out of danger, out of trouble. He's just kept it clean. He's currently in 3rd position, but he is, of course, sitting on a couple of penalties, I believe, so we'll see if that hurts him when we get to the final lap, which Hercules will be starting momentarily. But yeah, he's done a fantastic job, currently in 3rd position. Harry in 2nd position will be pretty happy as well. But yeah, it's been a bit of a feisty end to this race. These guys ready to wrap up for Christmas, and hopefully a little bit more festive cheer later in the season. We've seen from these guys. It's been a little bit hot-headed occasionally, so we'll see if Burmeister is shaping up Foxy Red. And Foxy, of course, struggling with that wing damage after contact with a number of cars. Definitely White Fountain in about 3 or 4 laps ago. But it is Hercules that's leading us around 6.7 seconds ahead of Harry now. So it's looking as though he will be coming around and crossing the line at the head of the field. And it will be his 2nd win of the season, if that is the case. So we'll just find out what's going on between this battle between Speed Queen and Burmeister. And they're the closest on battle, but we will just catch up with Hercules in the 3rd sector and watch the Red Bull cross the line and see if he can hold on to the race victory. Infinity getting past Scott there, Scott having retired from the session earlier, so Infinity up into the points. So nice return for Ashley, as we'll see Speed Queen trying to stick with Burmeister. Burmeister in fact looking at Foxy Red in front. Foxy's going to go deep. It's going to allow Burmeister the opportunity of a better run, but it's not going to be enough. But what it will be enough will be Hercules, and he is here in the Red Bull coming up to the final corner now, and the Red Bull driver comes across the line to take the race victory. He takes the checkered flag. Where does everyone file out with penalties? Because there have been plenty of them this evening. Harry is going to come across the line in 2nd place. He's happy with that. Now Sam behind in 3rd. He's going to come across the line 3rd, which will be he'll be delighted with. Does he hold on to it? He does. What a result from Samuel Fafito.
Wow.
Heads with Owen in 4th position. Speed Queen moves up to 5th. Great result from Speed Queen. Foxy Red down to 6th. Charlie finishing all the way down to 7th. Jumper Line and an unhappy 8th. Burmeister in 9th. Infinity will be the last one in the points. He's going to come across the line in 10th position. Good return to the track for Infinity 846, and that is how we end the first half of this season before we head to the Christmas break. And a couple of Grinches in there at the last few stages.
Yeah, I don't know how many more Christmas references you can get in there before the end of the stream, but yeah, I'm more amazed that Sam stayed out there and managed to stick it on the podium still. Yes, he got some luck with the fact that there was a lot of carnage behind him, but credit where credit's due, he hung on in there, and I don't even think he'd probably be expected to be stood on that podium, but he sure is. Huge congratulations to Hercules. In the end, he was just too quick, wasn't he, for everybody out there, and unfortunately for the likes of John Polainen and Warrisland, it just was a messy race. I think that's probably the best way to describe it.
Yeah, as Hercules does take the race victory in 47 minutes and 4 seconds ahead of Harry in 2nd. Sam with a fantastic race to get into 3rd place. Owen in 4th. Speed Queen in 5th. Foxy in 6th, with Charlie, Jumper Line and Burmeister and White Fountain rounding out the top 10 there after Infinity dropped back on penalties, I believe. And then we've of course had Rasty, and of course we lost Luke, Simon, Alex and Adri earlier in the session as well. And yeah, it was a fantastic race from Hercules. He, although picking up those penalties, which he will not be happy with at all, did manage to come home and pick up the race victory this evening. But yeah, it was another superb result from San Fito. Really nicely done, and probably didn't play into his hands at all, finishing or having to start that safety car period on older tyres, with White Fountain getting the opportunity coming into the pit box. But yeah, nicely done from him to get back on into third place and miss all of that, the chaos around him.
Yeah, no, exactly. That it's a great word, chaos, because it just was, wasn't it? I think just the fact that everybody was on brand new spanking tyres, apart from Sam, obviously, they were all squabbling all over each other. Unfortunately, everybody just tripped up over each other, didn't they? And unfortunately for the likes of Hercules and Harry ahead, they managed to just get away from all that carnage, because I'm sure they definitely would not have liked to have been involved in all that what happened at the back there.
Yeah, but it was. Of course, we will, of course, be reviewing every all incidents as well. The stewards will be watching every race, so we'll keep you all updated if there are any post-race penalties to any of the drivers involved in anything this evening. So make sure you check up the website invictusracingleague.com, where the stewards office can be found if you, of course, are a driver in the league, and we will be posting all results on our social media pages: Invictus RL on Twitter and Instagram, Invictus Racing League on Facebook. And of course, guys, as I said before, if you're enjoying it, make sure you press the like button, enjoying the race, and subscribe if you're new to the channel and you'd like to see good racing. Sab and I will bring it to you every Monday from the new year, after we finish our Christmas break. And equally, if you don't like we're doing and you're pressing that dislike button, let us know what we can do to improve your experience. So yeah, it's all about you guys making sure that you're enjoying it here. And Sab, have we got the guys joining us this evening?
I can't seem to get Hercules in, but we do have at the minute Sam and Harry. So maybe Hercules has got some issues or something. But we do have second and third place in with us at the moment. So maybe you want to start off with those guys, and Hercules might come in later on.
Yeah, absolutely. So we will start off with Harry, of course, finishing in second position tonight. Good race from you. It was picked up a couple of penalties that might have cost you late on, but you kind of picked up the pieces from White Fountain falling off the track, and found yourself in second position. You happy with that one?
Yeah, definitely. Hercules said you can't make it to the interviews, just so you guys know. Um,
Uh,
but yeah, I had a terrible start, managed to get back up to fourth, and then at the restart, everyone just seemed to smash each other off in front of me. I think first John Polina went in the back of Sam, then White Fountain got past me, I picked up a penalty, and he just spun off and took himself out pretty much, so I didn't really have to do that much. But yeah, I'm very happy with second, because I wasn't the second fastest driver.
And oh, you say you weren't the second fastest driver, but that's now that's a third podium of the season for you. You of course picked up a third in Hungary and Russia, and then a second tonight. So you're racking up the podium. So you're definitely keeping yourself in the chance of pushing for the championship later in the season.
Yeah, definitely. I think the massive improvement today was qualifying. I mean, I was still about 6 tenths off pole, but I think to be just on the second row, considering I started, I think, 3 races from last place, that was a massive relief. And I got a bad start, but I'm happy to qualify more than anything.
Yeah, well, congratulations, mate. Fantastic result from you getting up into second position tonight. Um, and Sam, uh, what a result for you. You must have been devastated when you saw that safety car come out and White Fountain ahead of you on the road. It looked like you were just about to get the overtake on him as well. To keep these guys behind as long as you did on those worn tyres, that was really impressive from you this evening.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Yeah. I mean, um, it was like bad luck, I guess. But then I think I was like, um, I thought that the soft would go, would overheat or would go on like the mediums did. So I just went for it, and yeah, it was very tense because I had to defend, because otherwise they would just go on like Hercules or like Harry did, and yeah, I mean. Jon Palainen hit me in the back. I almost spun. Uh, I, I mean, try to make it like sorry.
Seemingly we've lost Sam there for
Sorry,
a second.
sorry.
There we go. That's right. No worries, Sam.
Sorry.
As you were
Yeah, I
saying.
mean, was defending and yeah, very hard, very hard. My qualifying wasn't there, but I just decided to go with a more racy setup and yeah, I mean, a miracle, I think. I wouldn't ever believe that I would be in the podium and yeah.
I mean, yeah, it was a brilliant race from you to hold those guys off, and after the safety car start to get back on the podium, and after last week's win, that's another decent result for you that keeps you well in this championship chase heading into the new year. And yeah, it's you were saying during the week that it was a good confidence booster for you, and a result like this where you're perhaps not on that optimum strategy compared to everyone else, it shows that you're definitely ready to compete at the top level here.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I mean, I really hadn't the pace. I was looking for a fourth, fifth, sixth end of the race, and yeah, luckily I got third. Jon Baladen didn't make any some point. Charlie didn't make any good points. And yeah, I mean, it's gonna be tight. And yeah, see you on next year.
Yeah, well, thanks, guys. Fantastic race from both you in second and third place today. Shame we couldn't get Hercules, but congratulations to him for the race victory, his second of the season. And yeah, as Sam says, thanks for joining us for this year, guys. It's been a fantastic 2019 here with yourself, Sab. And how would you sum up the what has been the No Assist Championship and now the IRL F1 League?
It's been a lot of fun. There's been many great races. This was another one, I'd say. It was a race of two races, wasn't it, in the end? We had the race at the beginning where we thought it might be like start to follow the leader, but then it all just went out of the blue, and the book went out of the window, and that safety car came out of nowhere. It caught us off guard, and suddenly it was a completely different race. The carnage was a bit chaotic at times, but I think there was some good racing in there as well, and some good overtaking. You could have picked one of 6-7 people for that podium at the end, couldn't you, with how crazy it got at the end? So for the likes of Sam and Harry and even Hercules, who I think was probably always going to get that race victory, to get them to get on the podium with Hercules, it'd be a real confidence booster. And like Sam said, Jon Palainen, who fell down the order, and Charlie as well, who didn't have a good race. This allows Sam to close that gap up on the championship league going into next year. So it's all going to be really exciting going into the next race and seeing what we get from these guys, because so far this year in general it's been absolutely fascinating to watch.
Yeah, and like you say, there's plenty of with the likes of Jon Palainen finishing down the order and Charlie finishing down the order. It was strange enough, Jon Palainen actually maintained his gap in the championship with Charlie and Foxy not being able to really make too many inroads on the Finn. So Jon Palainen will take us into 2020 leading the championship. And the next race for us will be after the Christmas break. We'll be back Monday the 6th of January at the Azerbaijan Grand Prix in Baku, and it'll be on the calendar for the first time. These guys going around, of course, that very tight and twisty castle section, so it'll be fascinating to see what they provide to us in a couple of weeks' time after we all enjoy the festive period. But for tonight and for the last time this year on a Monday night, thank you very much for joining us. It's been an absolute joy bringing you racing every Monday here for the IRL F1 League, and we will see you next year with some more fantastic racing as with Sab and I, as always, in the commentary box. Tomorrow night, of course, is the Realistic Performance League, and then of course on Wednesday you've got IRL F2 and F3, and then on Thursday a very special Christmas podcast with Sab and I, and as we ask Santa 3 things for Formula 1 for 2020. So yeah, make sure you catch that on Spotify, SoundCloud, or iTunes after it's uploaded on, or you can watch it live, of course, uploaded on YouTube on this channel. So make sure you subscribed if you want to be notified when we go live. And but for tonight and for this year, thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you in 2020, and have a great Merry Christmas, guys.